are pleased to have a wonderful friend and guest back with us today, Christina Daly, who's the founding owner and director of Sparrow Dance Productions. And Christina, you're based really out of Rio Rancho, correct?
Yes, that's correct. We are right at the top of the hill.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know, top of the hill. And it's fun to talk to folks from some of our communities outside of Albuquerque, and we look forward to getting an update. Tell us a little bit about Sparrow Dance Productions, how you guys got your start, and what's going on right now as we move into 2025.
Sure. So we got our start inside of being married for less than a year. My husband and I, James Smith, we weren't even married a year, and we went crazy and decided to start this business through a series of, orchestrated events by the Lord. And now we are inside of our 8th year.
Wow.
We are the only conservatory of dance in New Mexico that is privately owned and operated.
Is that right?
Yes. So we are not 501c3. We are LLC for charity.
Okay. So you got your start almost a decade ago, not quite.
Almost.
And I'm sure it's been a journey. It's like every new business. Nothing happens overnight typically. It usually builds, a little here to a little bit there. And one of the things that you do, I know we talked about in the past, was a very big production around Christmas time with the Nutcracker.
Yes.
Did that happen again at the end of 2024?
Yes, it did. We had our Nutcracker and the Land of the Sweets Trading Company production at the end of December, the weekend just before Christmas.
Now, last time we met, going back, several months, I think you mentioned that was held in Rio Rancho in 2023. What happened in 2024?
We outgrew the theaters. We had a bigger turnout for our auditions.
Wow.
In 2023, 47 dancers hit the stage. And in 2024, 65 dancers hit the stage.
That's a big number. That's a big jump.
It's a huge number. And the new theater that we're in, African American Performing Arts Center, they are so good to us. And it's a beautiful venue. It has wonderful dressing rooms, bathroom facilities for our dancers. So it was really exciting to move into a venue that was so professional, well-maintained, and run by just the most wonderful people.
Great.
Right.
Now that's based in Albuquerque instead of Rio Rancho. Give us kind of the location where you had your event.
So African American Performing Arts Center is located on the property of Expo, New Mexico on the fairgrounds, and the main entrance there is on Copper and San Mateo.
Okay, so a lot of folks, of course, know about Expo New Mexico, or if you've been in the area a long time, you just think of it as the state fairgrounds. That's kind of the old name, but kind of the residual that carries on. So basing it there. Now, this year, as you went into 2024, and I'm assuming most of those performances were near Christmas and in December, how many folks were you able to have as a part of that?
Just under 1,000 audience members attended our Nutcracker, which was our largest turnout so far as well.
Did it feel different this year? Did it feel just like it was, what was the feel like as it gets a little bit bigger?
Sure. So going into this year for our Nutcracker, we hold our auditions in August, and then we start rehearsing at the end of August. So it's a 4-month journey for the dancers.
Yeah.
And it was really fun for me as the director to have so many more dancers. And we had a big adult population this year, and it just felt like a big community coming together, really. And there were dancers in our cast who had some major life blows, I suppose is what you would call. One of our dancers, his wife passed just a few weeks before opening night.
Oh my! And
he was so resilient, but he was determined to continue to perform. And what was
I'm
so
sure there's
special,
a real sense of community.
Yes, the dancers just surrounded him, whether they were little or fellow adult dancers. So there was a lot of moments of resurrection in the last 4 months. And when it comes to opening night, and you see the dancers realizing that they pulled it off, that they survived, that they got through it, that they overcame some of life's obstacles. And dance just really helped them do that. And then to get on stage on opening night, it's like they kind of celebrate themselves.
How many nights does it run?
This last time we did 3 shows, a Friday night, a Saturday night, and a Sunday matinee.
That's great. So that was kind of for it to be more than one event. I think that's important.
Yes.
A lot of times you put a lot of effort in. If you only do it one time, you're like, wow.
It's so sad. Yes.
One and done. But it's
Right.
nice when it extends over a course of a few days. Well, let's talk about 2025. I mean, it's nice to look back, but let's look forward a little bit. Okay. What are some of the things that you're hoping for in the new year, as you go into this brand new year?
Right. Okay. So I know we said the new year, but we did start this in August, a new book club that we're doing. And we're the only dance business in the state that's doing a book club.
All right.
And so we're going to continue that in the new year. I'm a huge advocate for literacy in dance. So I like to do the crossover of reading and writing skills, math skills over into the dance experience. And the book club really seemed to pull that out for dancers.
Great.
In addition, we also have a new business that launched in the fall as well, the Dance Shop, and it runs outside of our studio. So we have a suite inside of our studio that's just for the dance shop. And one thing that we're very excited for 2025 is we received designer clothes from Kathy Beal. She's a local New Mexico artist. She lives in Santa Fe. And she donated beautiful, beautiful items, never worn, brand new, fresh off the press.
Wow.
And all of the proceeds from those particular clothing items will actually go into a scholarship fund for dancers for their point shoes.
And you were telling me before we started that there's kind of a point shoe shortage.
There's a point shoe shortage, not just in the United States, but really globally. After the pandemic, that really affected people weren't spending money on point shoes and they weren't going to dance classes necessarily.
Right.
But then also the Ukrainian war has played an effect on it because, factories have been obliterated. And it has been difficult to get point shoes. Some of the factories have had to rebuild elsewhere. So point shoes are about $200 a pair now.
So that's an expensive item for somebody trying to start off, or even if you have children that are their feet are growing, then you got to really think about that too. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the ballets. I know that are you going to do anything different or expanded in 2025 beyond the Nutcracker? What are your thoughts?
Yes, so last spring of 2024, I premiered a ballet called The Adventures of Zorro. And that was another full-length story ballet. So my goal for myself professionally to provide for the dancers is these full-length ballets that are more original. So the upcoming spring show is going to be something along the lines of Degas dancers. I don't know if you're familiar with Edgar Degas, but if you've ever seen the artwork of ballerinas, it kind of looks like watercolors, sort of. They're very colorful. But he's known for these ballet paintings and a very famous sculpture of his. And so the ballet is going to be inspired by the Degas paintings.
Okay, so you've got a lot of new things in the pipeline, so to speak. And of course, some of those things have already been debuted. And I thought it was very interesting that you opened your own shop, dance shop. Because
more branches,
it gives, and those are things that people need. I mean, and if you're dealing with that type of clientele, they're going to be looking for spending money in those areas. As you think back, it's been, like you said, about 8 years. You've seen a lot of growth. What do you attribute the growth to? Is there a certain thing? I know you came through the pandemic about midway through that.
Yeah.
What has really been the catalyst in the midst of all of these things to carry you through?
I think that it's going to be hard for me to not get emotional. My marriage is definitely the driving vehicle for this, with God at the wheel,
Yes.
Anytime that we feel that we're running ragged, stretched too thin, if things are not running, business, there's going to be some funk sometimes.
Things don't always go perfect, do they?
But you kind of know when you're missing the mark. And we have this really beautiful relationship where we are not afraid to hit the brakes. We will find a substitute teacher, we will find coverage, and we will move our marriage back to the forefront. And
is yours a 7-day-a-week business, or is
6 days a week?
6 days. So that's pretty draining on a family, isn't it?
Yeah. So my marriage, we tithe back into our community, even when the pandemic happened and we weren't making money. And I think that being a good steward of our talents and our time, Whenever the Lord presents us with a new vision, it's like, okay, Lord, make me a good steward of this. Make sure I'm honoring you with this. And James and I are really united in that.
That's wonderful. Well, Christina, tell folks how they can get in touch with you if they want to find out more about Sparrow Dance Productions.
Okay, so Sparrow Dance Productions is located in Rio Rancho on 103 Rio Rancho Drive, Southeast, Suite D6. Our phone number is 505-985-7947.
Great.
You can find our website at sparrowdancenm.com, or you can shoot us an email at sparrowdanceproductions@gmail.com.
A lot of great ways to make a connection with Christina and the team there at Sparrow Dance Productions. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Yes.